So, I don't do this right now. I'm trying to figure out how to start these things.
Brian, if you're watching this, you're not getting your next run check.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Matt. On this channel, I talk about all things social media. I know I haven't posted in a while. Basically, and Waldo can attest to this as well, for the last, a month and a half, we really had a hard time moving into our new home, which is the one we're in right now. There's a lot of stuff. We had to stay in Airbnbs, we had to stay in hotels, just kind of a whole mess, but we're finally here, we're finally settled, and we're finally able to create some content together, right? So I'm not gonna do too much talking during this video. I want you guys to hear from Waldo. We're gonna do 10 questions in 10 minutes, and we're just gonna start firing away right now. This is Waldo, my roommate, and so Waldo, question number 1 is gonna be, where are you from, and just a slight background for people.
All right, so slight background is I'm from Wisconsin, but I wasn't born there. I was born in Mexico, but I moved to Wisconsin when I was like 3, 4. So essentially all my life has been in Wisconsin. Before you're 3, you really can't remember anything. But yeah, I'm from Wisconsin, like a small part of Wisconsin that isn't the two main parts, which is Madison and Milwaukee. I'm from a small town called Watertown. It's like 20,000 people. It's one of those movie small towns where you're just like, wow, there's nothing here. Kids just do a bunch of hood rat stuff when they're young, and that's exactly what I did. So coming up, I wasn't really doing the whole like social media thing or doing anything that like people from big cities are used to doing. We were out doing like just a bunch of little hood rat stuff that you can get away with in small towns, which you probably wouldn't be able to get away with in big towns. But
all right, so number 2, what made you want to come to California, right?
Right. So the biggest thing that made me want to come to California was in Wisconsin, it's very one kind of, you grow up, you go to college, and then you usually live wherever that college is, or you go to a different city and start your job. You don't really stay in Wisconsin. A lot of people move into Wisconsin from like other states, but a lot of people I grew up with, they've moved out and stuff like that. And the reason I wanted to do that was because everyone else does it. There's nothing really in Wisconsin that holds people there. We have Madison, Milwaukee. Neither of them have a bunch of like economic growth opportunities there. Starting a business isn't the most ideal in Wisconsin. So for what I want to do, which is photography and videography and working with arts and stuff like that, California is a lot more of the place to be than, the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin.
All right, so question number 3, when did you decide you wanted to leave Wisco? Was it always in the plan, or was it like a last minute?
Yeah, so it was more of a spontaneous decision. I knew at the bottom of my heart Wisco wasn't the place for me. I was like, this place, it's cool, but I want to, there's way more to the world than Wisconsin. So when I started meeting people and stuff like that, a couple of friends moved out here, and I was like, whoa, they're moving out there, maybe I should look into moving out there. And then obviously I got invited to move out. I was like, hell yeah, let me take the leap. I was doing a personal training job in Brookfield, which is one of the suburbs of Milwaukee, and it's one of the nicer areas of Milwaukee, so I was actually planning on moving there. But then when the whole coronavirus and everything hit, I was like, maybe I should re-strategize. And then I kind of realized that I wanted to do photography way more than I wanted to do personal training. So that's why I was like, screw it, I'm gonna leave Wisconsin and just come out here, and hopefully it works out. And still trying to get at that.
Yeah, that's a good thing though. You have obviously, and people are gonna find out, you have a passion for photography, but at the same time, where does the gym, because I know you're dedicated, you love it, so where does that stand compared to photography and all that? Because I know you mix it in.
Right. So there's obviously a market for gym photography and, gym equipment stuff. But what I personally like to do is more like the creative aspect, so I like to do crazy moody lighting and stuff like that. But the way the gym plays in is that's where it all started. I started photography through taking pictures of my friends at the gym and stuff, because they're like, yo, can you take a picture with your cool camera? I was like, hell yeah, let me do that. And then that kind of evolved over the years and started doing short video clips. And I was like, wow, I'm actually getting good at this. So then I started taking it more serious. And then as my skills progress, I kind of learn how to use them outside of the gym, and then that's kind of where I am today, where I still do gym stuff every now and then, but I've kind of moved past it and started using my skill that I've learned to chase my ideas that I have.
So number 4, who's the biggest influence on you right now online? Obviously there's people in the online space, whether it's photography, videography, and I know we've talked about stuff in the past, and I kind of just wanted to put this question down because I want to see who, in your opinion, is the most influential on you.
Yeah, so from the online world, I think probably the most influential person, both in terms of like photography and just like being artistic in general, is probably this photographer named Willem Verbeek. The reason I say that is because I really, really like his style of shooting. I really like how he does his videos. I started following him on YouTube when he was at like 20,000. I think he just recently hit like 300,000. So I've seen him progress, and I've seen him kind of come out of his shell, and he looks a lot more, natural in front of the camera and stuff. And that's kind of how I want to be. I, obviously want to start doing YouTube videos and stuff like that too. So he's one of my main, motivators, because I was like, as coming into like photography and stuff like that, it's a very diverse industry. There's a photographer for everything. He just kind of said, screw all that, I'm going to do my own thing. He found something that he loved, and then people were like, whoa, he does that really, really well. So that kind of motivates me to be like, you know what, screw what everyone else thinks. I'm going to do what I want, and if people like it, they'll follow it. And that's kind of been what's going on with my Instagram. It's starting to get some traction. I was at like 100 followers earlier this year before quarantine hit, and then I started actually doing photography. Now I'm at like 1,400. So in a couple of months, started to grow, and hopefully it's going to snowball.
Okay, so number 5, what have you struggled with in your career path the most?
I think the most challenging part about doing photography and videography is making that your career path, is leaving what you were doing before, leaving your comfort zone of, I have a set income, I have a set skill set that I've spent a long time to build, obviously with my training and getting certified and all that, and getting a job at like a gym and getting clients and stuff. It's a big, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to slowly build up before you start making the good money. And to be like, I'm making good money now, let me just quit all this and just restart and essentially do the same thing, but now for a way, way more open market. Now this market is, instead of someone coming to you like, I want to lose weight, they're coming to you with literally anything. They could be, do you shoot cars? Do you shoot trees? Do you shoot people? Do you shoot, weddings? And it's like, you need to be able to pick one of those and do them really, really well, or do all of them really, really well. And I think the hardest part is just making that leap to be like, I want this to be my full income. I want this to be my actual job. And the way you do that is obviously through clientele and stuff like that. And the hardest part's going to be just setting that all up, and still in the middle of setting that up to be my main thing. But yeah, when you love it, it's going to come into fruition. So I'm not really worried about it. But I think, definitely the hardest part is just starting and kind of setting the foundation.
Okay, so number 6, what's your main motivation right now? That could be obviously life or just whatever you're focused on right now.
Right. So my main motivation right now, as in my art, is just making something that leaves an impact. I want people to look at my stuff, my creative work, and be like, wow, that's really good. Wow, that's, I want people to feel something when they look at my photos. You see photos on Instagram, a lot of people don't really spend more than a couple minutes taking like a photo. I really like to over process my photo. I like there to be, I want the color to mean something. I want the composition to mean something. I want the lighting to mean something. I want it all to work together to bring emotion out of someone. And if I can make someone feel something, then I've done a well job. So my motivation is just all the people that have, DM'd me or commented and told me like, wow, like this is beautiful work. Like this makes me feel happy. This makes me feel alive. This makes me feel, a certain way. And those kind of comments and those kind of DMs are what really motivates me to keep on going. Cause I just started doing this as kind of like a hobby a few months ago. And now that people are like, whoa, like this is really, really good stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep on going and just see where it takes me. And that's kind of been my main motivator.
All right, moving on. We are on number 7. So what's your ultimate goal in life?
The main goal isn't money. A lot of people, I think, get into things for the wrong reason, which is money. I think money is more of a tool to help you reach your goals rather than the ultimate goal itself. And I think that when you put money aside, and trust me, I've wanted money. I've been money hungry, but the more I've thought about it, the more I've been like, you know what, if I have all this money, it's not really going to make me happy. I want my main goal to be my name to be known, my name to be remembered. I want, when I die, people to look back and be like, wow, he was a great artist. Wow, he really was passionate about what he did. He really, put all his effort into making his art. And I want my art to be in like museums. I want my art to be everywhere art can be, and I want people just to know it.
Okay, so number 8, Waldo, why did you choose to do photography and videography rather than, because obviously there's a bunch of different kinds of art you can do.
Right, so I've dabbled in all of the arts. Growing up I was a really good artist, hand, pen kind of thing. I've done digital art. I still do digital art with like Photoshop and stuff. I produce music sometimes. There's all different kinds of ways to create art. But what I like about photography and videography is with music, you can pick up a guitar and make a song. With art, with like a hand and pencil stuff, you can just pick up a pencil and make something from your imagination. With photography, you actually have to go out and capture it. You have to go out and set it up yourself in the real world and then capture a photo of it. You know, photography, it's the capturing of light. You need to go out into the world and arrange the world into your idea that you have in your head. And that's something that I think, one, is creatively challenging to you. It's it instills this new angle in you. You know, you start looking at things differently. You start looking at lighting differently. You start perceiving the world differently. Like, oh, how could I make that look cool? How could I make this look cool? And I think that's the aspect of it that really drew me to it, was just how challenging it was. You know, it's like I've said it before. You can give someone that doesn't know a thing about photography a $10,000 camera, and they won't be able to give you a masterpiece photo. But if you give a seasoned photographer like a little $20 film camera from Walgreens, they'll give you a masterpiece. And it's one of those things where it's a challenge, you know, and the more challenging it is, the more you just want to do it. You know, growing up, you couldn't get alcohol when you were under 21, so you were like, we're gonna go get that alcohol. We don't know how, but we're gonna get it. You know, people like a challenge. As humans, we just naturally like a challenge, and I think that's why I just love photography and videography, is because it's so naturally challenging.
Okay, so number 9, what's the hardest part to you of photography and videography, and then what's the easiest part?
So the hardest part, again, kind of tying back to what we were just talking about with question number 8, is just going out and actually, you know, setting up the stage for what your camera's going to capture. I think that's definitely the hardest part. It's just getting the tools to bring your image to life, because you're never going to bring your full image to life. I can think of something like the easiest part of photography is making up the ideas. Like, I want this lighting with this and this and this, and then you go out and you do exactly as you thought it would, you know, look like, and then you snap the picture and you're like, this is garbage. I hate how it looks. So I think the hardest part is actually getting the image in your head to manifest in real life through your objects, and the easiest part is just making that image up in your head, because everyone has an imagination. Everyone has that like vision in their head where like, oh, I know exactly how I want it to look. And then you get onto the field and you start trying to put it together, and then you're just like, wow, it looks like nothing how I imagined it to be. And the hardest part is just getting as close as you can to that image in your head.
Okay, so number 10 is, what is some good advice for someone who wants to do photography or videography, like that's watching right now?
I think now more than ever is the best time to go pick up a camera, because they're so easily readily available. You know, back even 10 years ago, getting a good camera that shot video and photo, it was going to set you back $6,000. Now you can go to Best Buy and get one for like $400 and it'll get the job done. The thing I recommend the most to people is just starting to shoot as much as possible, because you can watch as many tutorials as you want, you can listen to as many gurus as you want, you can absorb as much information as you want, but once you get an actual camera in your hand, it's going to be a completely different world, because you're not going to know where the buttons are. You're not going to know which dials to click. You're not going to know how you like to hold the camera. You don't know if you're right-eyed or left-eyed. You don't know how like lighting hits your objects and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where you have to get into the field and you actually just have hands-on. The first couple thousand photos you're going to shoot, they're not going to be good, and that's okay. You know, it's a learning process. You're not going to go out and take the best photo in the world right away. You have to learn, but in order to learn, you're going to need to make mistakes. And I think that's the best way to learn, is going out and trying something and realizing, well, I can't do that anymore because that sucks. And then it's going to get really imprinted in your brain on what the right and the wrong way to do it is. And that all starts from just getting your hands on a camera and just going out and shooting. And nowadays, even with iPhones, you can get some pretty good shots that you wouldn't have been able to even 5 years ago. So that's definitely my number one advice, is just get a hold of a camera and just go out and just start shooting. Start letting it rip. You know, just whatever you see in your mind, try and recreate it and just keep on going until you start really getting good at it.
All right, you guys, so thanks for watching. And if you haven't seen my last video, I'm going to go ahead and link it right here on the screen. Make sure you go check that video out. I'll see you guys over there.